close. Fear to go, but you keep trying to get too close. Save myself by turning into stone. So save your judgment, cause you just don't know. But some things never change, never change. Oh, they say I should feel guilty and change my ways, leaving crumpled bodies in my wake. Swear I didn't mean to make them break. Swear I didn't mean to make them break. But they're so delicate and so mundane, and they keep coming like a moth to a flame. Oh, some things never change, never change. You'll break your back to make me feel again. Suffocate to make me breathe again. Lose your mind from endless pain. Some things never change, never change. Oh, redemption never came.
Welcome back, everyone. We just got done with map number 1 of the last best of 3 of the day. Tactical Throwers taking a 13-8 over Sanrios on Bind. So that was summed up actually pretty close towards the end, even though there was periods of dominance. But a nice clutch at the end from Satyr. It was actually quite cool if you guys want to go watch that highlight. But we're going into map 2, so don't take too long watching that highlight. Map 2 will be up very soon. We're going on to Fracture for this one, and just before the break we talked about how excited we are, Alias, because it's just such a unique map. So what do you expect this one to play out like?
I think we're probably going to see an oddly similar comp for the for Tactical Throws. I think we're going to see an oddly similar comp on Fracture to the one on Bind. I feel like that style of play just suits them extremely well. I could alternatively see more of an FPX style comp running the Omen and Viper as opposed to the Breach and Brimstone. But ultimately, I think you stick to what you're comfortable with, and it looked like everyone was relatively comfortable on the same roles, so why not?
Okay, why not? Both teams have some good stats for this one, cute noobs. So it looks like for Fracture, Tactical Throwers runs through a few different compositions. Sanrio's kind of sticking to just one overall. But anyways, both of them, I guess technically Sanrios has a better score. So is this their way back? I mean, it was their map choice as well, so keep that in mind. They obviously have a lot of confidence in it, and the last map did go kind of close. So are we optimistic for Sanrios' chances?
Always root for the underdog. Always root for the comeback story. But if we're being honest, version X, that was against Tactical Throwers in the close. It just seemed like they did so well against them from what I'm seeing here. And I mean, let's talk about it. Version X, a very, very good team. One that we so expect to make it to the finals. So to put up a fight against them speaks volumes about Tactical Throwers. So I don't think it's going to be an easy one. Is there always a potential that it could be an upset? I would hope so we can go on to my favorite map of all time, Ascent. But I think it's going to have to be a fight, and it's going to have to be a shutdown of Satyr. Satyr has just been so dominant and the it player for Tactical Throwers. So if you can shut down Kea and Satyr, I think that might be the correct answer for this map to go in the way of them. I don't know. That's just me.
Yeah. I mean, that's certainly, I think that's a fair point. You take down basically the star player, and you start to hopefully perform better as well. But Alias, you see anything else strategically, right? Like, it sounds all well and good, just like to shoot the person who keeps on shooting you would be the basics of Valorant. But was there anything else that you saw there that Sanrios could fix very quickly as well? So that's always a problem of a best of, right? You gotta figure it out quick. Did you see something that could be fixed on a dime?
Yeah, I mean, it's easy enough to say, hey, if there were 28 less kills that last game, then maybe we would have done a little bit better. But I think it's also important to note that Satyr is getting set up extremely well by her teammates. Specifically, if you're running a breach on a map like Bind, you're trying to set up your start duelist. You're trying to take advantage of that quick burst of power that you can just exert anywhere. You can just stun out Satchel. And if we're going to be seeing things like that happen on Fracture, it's going to be very crucial for Sanrios to try and bob and weave around those types of plays. You might have to give a little bit more map control than you're used to, but ultimately it seems like Sanrios do a lot better against this style of play when they keep more of their players alive for longer into the round, so that way they can actually fight back after all these quick bursts of util have happened. And then, of course, just kill safe. Like, that just seems to work out for them as well.
Yeah, I think it's very important to always note that even though the scoreboard is often very pretty and we all feel really cool when we're on the top of the scoreboard, credit absolutely has to be given to the teammates, especially the higher in skill you go. I mean, maybe if you are down in bronze, you can be like, no, it was all me, buddy. And that's fair.
I'm my own assist.
Exactly, I was my own assist. All y'all suck. No, but for a professional, or certainly very competitive players, I just don't think you can deny that it's all about that setup. Strategic depth in Valorant is what makes it more than just shooty bang bang game. We do have a little bit of a technical delay. I think one of the players having a bit of trouble, so we'll stay here a while longer and talk about this final series. Actually, you know what? While we have time, why don't we go ahead and touch on the bracket? I don't think we're going to show it. I'm just going to say it, guys. Version X did defeat Sova for the team. Okay, yeah. Let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and show it. Yeah, exactly.
Oh my god, Revival versus Verify ended.
Oh my god, not even done. It's still going. Yeah, it was actually a 2-1. But, right, Version X did win over Sova for the team. I feel like for some people who might be watching this, it's like this mythical hero or some mythical heroine, whatever you want to go with, where we just keep talking about Version X, and if they're maybe not super attentive to Game Changers, they're like,
Who's that?
what's going right here? So I guess, cute noob, do we kind of just want to give a TLDR why we expected Version X to be even the champions of this October's Game Changers Academy?
Yeah, so Version X is a signed team. Yeah, they've got a lot of experience, not only in Academy. Actually, this is their first time in Academy, correct me if I'm wrong. They played more towards the main scene where the big dogs are. You talk about Complexity, Cloud9 White, Shopify Rebellion. They've played against those big names that we all hope that all these teams that are competing in Game Changers Academies go on to play against. And they've had a few wins, but they've also sought some hard defeat. And I think that sometimes you have to go back to the grassroots, and that's exactly what Version X is doing. They're coming down to Game Changers Academy and starting off slow and kind of building themselves up. As we mentioned, when you have a lot of experience, when you played against the big boys or girls, then you know that there's a lot of planning, there's a lot of really great players, and that's why we expect Version X to be one of the teams that are going to be at the end, because they have the experience, they played against the best, so we expect them to bring the best onto this Game Changers Academy.
Yeah, even though they were denied entry into the most recent Game Changers, it's just full of a lot of tough teams, so someone had to be, right? Most people had to be. But if we are kind of putting them on levels, it's like Academy, you win Academy, especially if you're doing it consistently and you're here. And then Game Changers, I suppose, entering into the actual tournament, it's pretty high up. Then if you lose out, maybe you brought down to here. But that's still above, right? So we have really high expectations. If they're truly breaking themselves down to build themselves back up, we could have a shock. We could have a surprise. But I don't know if it's going to be that extreme. Again, that match will be played tomorrow, Version X versus Team Mystic Venus. But just give a bit of a taste of what else is happening on the bracket, since they were done lickety splits, and we need to get a little more here. So it seems like the teams are just about ready. So the last bracket update I want to give you guys, Ariana Grande Perfume is up 1-0 versus Revival. It's another team that we've kind of thrown around, but not necessarily watched. So this time around, of course. But they were champion of Game Changers Academy August. I don't know about you guys. There's always 1 month that I kind of forget. I'm gonna be honest with you, and it's always August. But anyways,
I'm lucky
so
if
we
I
have
can
high hopes for
remember
them.
what month I'm in. If I'm being fully honest.
Exactly. Thank you. Thank you. But yeah, we also have high hopes for Ariana Grande Perfume. So I know you already talked a little bit about it, but Alias just... We're both excited to see them actually perform again. For some reason, I'm not sure why. I don't believe they played last month. But we do have some, as we say, restructuring of teams sometimes. I think it's the same team, though.
I
guess we'll
think
get confirmation on
it's
that tomorrow.
largely the same players. I think there were 1 or 2
There's a couple
roster members who
difference.
were in and off for various reasons, but
Okay.
ultimately, I think the core is largely still the same. And you know, sometimes it's just good to take a month off, gel as a team, especially with like newer members being brought in and just playing to have fun. Like, don't lose sight of what's important. Just like, don't let immediate success get in the way of future success. Sometimes.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
And
need
there's
you to
also other
remind that.
tournaments.
Oh, yeah. I was gonna
Go
say,
ahead.
I'm gonna need you to remind that to my ranked demon teammates. We're playing for fun, people. We ain't trying out for the VCT game changers.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Eventually.
I don't know if I'm gonna be doing that with my rando team. Maybe.
Who knows?
If they're
Maybe,
nice
maybe it's a particularly good day in ranked one day.
You know, it has happened. I think often when we play or do anything in life, I suppose, especially things that we do over and over and over again, sometimes what brings us back are those moments when it's actually cool. It might be like 1 in 10
Yeah.
times, 1 in 50 times, but you know, remember that one time you played World of Warcraft and you raided and you had fun, but then you forgot about the 100 hours that you leveled? Yeah, that's pretty much what you're going for. But anyways, so let's focus back in on Tactical Throwers versus Sanrios. We're still buying some time, guys. Just more technical difficulties. But Fracture, how is this, I guess, Alias played out amongst the pros? Because I think it's safe to say that for the most part, especially as we get deeper into these playoffs, there's a lot of emulation of the pros. You know, they set what's good for it. So what have you been seeing in Fracture, and what can we, I guess, take from those high-level players and apply here?
Well, I guess the first question is, how much do you want to know? Because I watch
Oh.
way too much VCT. But yeah, at the top level, there are largely like 2 subsections of comps. You've got comps with breach and without breach, and that tends to dictate your playstyle more. Obviously, comps with breach tend to rely more on these quick bursts of aggression, like you saw with the breach on Bind. And those are the comps like your standard optic comp, where you run Raise, Breach, KO, Brimstone, and Chamber. And then some other variations, like potentially running Double Duelist instead of KO, bringing the Neon, or run Fade for extra information. And then as far as comps without Breach go, those usually tend to be the ones where you end up seeing Double Controller a little bit more. Viper's still relatively common in some of the Breach comps, but ultimately those are the comps that are more in line with the style of the way that FPX and DRX play, where you've got Omen and Fade sort of replacing Breach in terms of just having the paranoia for initiation power, and Fade's util just lets you play a little bit more defaulty. You can poke and prod a little bit, and your executions are still relatively strong. So I'm very curious to see what we're going to see from the the teams as we head into Agent Select.
Yep, it's ready to go. So thank you for explaining. It was probably something you were going to do in the game, but I needed you, and thank you so much for backing me up, Alias. Now let's go ahead into Agent Select and see how game number 2 shakes up.
Game number 2. And this trying to be the it thing for Tactical Throwers. They've already won 1. They're trying to go for the 2nd here. You were talking about the deep compositions that we see in the higher scene. How is that pairing up with what these agent pools look like right now?
In terms of Sanrios, we've just got the standard optic comp. Nothing too out of the ordinary. Obviously, the main odd bit of this is actually going to be Lunaflux switching over from a standard recon role. Instead, she's just going to be playing just right on the Neon. That's a much different style of play. Meanwhile, on the side of the Tactical Throwers, we're seeing a composition that doesn't get as much attention, but still has some fans up in the pro scene. bringing on the Sage instead of running a Viper or a second Initiator, and there are a lot of pluses that bringing on that Sage can do for you. But it's tended to fall off just a little bit as teams figure out that Sage, while a very useful agent to have in a lot of situations, just doesn't entirely hold up as well in others. So I'm very curious to see how tactical throwers get around not having a second initiator or a second duelist or a second controller.
Fair point. So the battle of the Rays and the Neon, and just a single initiator rather than double initiator, like you stated. I feel like for Satyr to stay on that Rays after just doing so phenomenal back to back is going to be key. We stated before that maybe just eliminating Satyr and Kea might be the answer to this. But I want to bring forth the fact that Brimstone has their moment back, right? For a while, Brimstone was just like the no man out, right? Everyone was like, Brimstone, yeah, they're there. But the fact that now so many different controllers are viable because of the nerfs to Viper and Astra, how do you feel about that? And how do you feel about both of teams carrying out this Brimstone onto this map?
It's not entirely unexpected, especially on maps like Bind or Fracture. Not running a Brimstone usually requires a little bit more, not necessarily thinking outside the box, but more lateral thinking in terms of how you like make up for what util you lose by not having him. But ultimately, I think Brimstone is still a very strong agent. It's just sometimes his his main weakness of having a lack of range on his smokes just gets in the way of seeing that. And on a map like Fracture, where a lot of times you are playing up in these close quarters, you don't necessarily have to worry about that, and Brimstone can just be strong.
Strong Brimstone. I like that. I'm gonna start saying that. Satyr, though, first blood here. And I have to talk about the map changes. How do you feel about the Fracture map changes?
I love them, with the one caveat being I don't know how I feel about the specific corners that were created on Dish. Or not on Dish, specifically on Drop. I think that they could be a bit awkward at times. I'd like to see them maybe get smoothed out a little bit, but ultimately, they're solid. Just like Luna Fox's aim. Very, very solid.
Solid indeed. Getting rid of the only player onto the site. The quick rotation coming through. They're going to be met with the fate of this trademark, giving away their position. I feel kind of weird about the sand area as well. Like there's like this really weird random corridor, but doesn't matter. Cebu says, surprise! There's two of us on the flank, and two of those attackers go down, left to just one on drop and one on site, but not for long, as Kitty Cat is the last remaining for Sanrios, looking for the first point on to Fracture. The drop happens, and Dios gets the elimination. Tactical throwers already starting off on the right foot.
Yeah, just very strong. I do like that, especially with Sage. One of the things that you do gain by bringing Sage on instead of another duelist specifically is you do have a player who can play this sort of like pseudo-aggressive duelist style while also bringing in util that can really support her team.
That's a good spot.
And I think that Ia is just being able to just lock down areas like Tower is going to help them out a lot in the long run. See, it's just entirely a north side pinch.
Yeah. Oh man. Eos with the Spectre. Ooh, nice skin, by the way. 2 eliminations already onto that. But the remainder of Sanrios are coming on from B main. The bomb's gonna get planted. At least you get that 300 credit onto the board. And then you gotta be careful with this lurk from Kiss.
Last player standing.
Okay, Junifor, ready, locked, loaded, eliminated, and it's down left to Fairy Ken. Fairy pop a magical sparkling wish here and clutch it out. Nope, instead just gonna go for the eliminations. The diffusal's being stuck. What can Fairy do besides try to fly away?
Just want to have that Spectre in the next round either, so just going to go down to EOS. Tactical throws take a very nice lead. Only 1 weapon dropped, and a ghost just going to help make up for that. Full util mostly full shields outside of 2 players. There's still a very formidable bonus coming out from tactical throwers, especially since it looks like they're going to pinch that north side again. And while it doesn't look like it's going to lead to very much immediately in terms of just Sanrios all being on the south side of the map, they're going to have a lot of map control, and these rotates can come in very quickly.
Right, no control of drop. Wow. Tactical throwers hoping that the same play is going to go about, but no, it's going to be a new position here for Sanrios as they still get onto site. This is the 3rd time that they plant. They planted every single time, but every time tactical throwers go for the retake, they just do it so immaculately that it's so hard for Sanrios to really get any space, any kills. We do see that there's pink shells coming into sight. A drop coming out for Starry. These nades are connecting. They do a little bit of damage, but it's going to be Satyr from the back getting the kill, getting the 2nd elimination. And just like that, it's down left to Kiss. He has a full Phantom in hand, spraying through the wall, gets the swing from EOS. And EOS has to be it here. 3rd point on the board. I want to know how many times EOS has clutched it out for tactical throwers. Can we get that number to me?
Maybe not immediately, but someone's gonna find it somewhere. But one thing that I've really liked seeing through all 4 maps of tactical throwers that I've seen / casted so far this tournament is just how well they're trading off of each other. Like, everything is being played so disciplined, like, so well-disciplined. I'm not sure what the adverb form of disciplined would be, but either way, just, I really like the approach that Tactical Throwers is taking for this map. And not just this map, but just the way that their team plays in general.
I also like that wall position. Satyr gets a clear shot over onto Kiss. And the slow orb also buys just enough time in case a rotation is actually needed. As we can see, it probably is going to be needed. Look how many members of Sanrios are just hovering around a lobby, trying to get a kill. We do have that trademark in the hindsight to make sure that nobody is flanking about. So much utility being expended here.
I don't know if they know that the door's open. Well, they certainly know now.
Yeah. Showstopper also getting added to that mix. Jonah Ford gets rewarded with 2 nice kills. And now Fairy, once again, being the last standing. It must be a Fairy thing, right? He's going to be the last one standing every single time.
Yeah, not for very long, though. Satyr going to catch Fairy out in the end. And Tactical Throwers already up 4-0. The Showstopper was expended there, but already lots of progress towards the other ultimates elsewhere. Resurrection and Tour de Force, both 3 off. Satyr obviously still only 2 points towards hers, given that she just used it. But the 2 biggest ultimates for either team are going to be that Orbital Strike and that Rolling Thunder. And because of that, it's very, very important that Tactical Throwers have them up, because now even if that KO ultimate is popped to try and get Sanrios on site, they don't even have to play on site. They can play off site. They can retake. They've got a lot of tools to work with.
Yeah, so far they've shown that they can do both. They can retake, they can fight for the site. I would like to... I feel like in that specific last round, Sanrios had every opportunity to rotate out. Yes, they were going to go right into the hands of Kea on the B site, but that's 1 opponent, and you have 4 left on your side. Instead, they fought for that entrance into a lobby where they were finding no success. So maybe just baiting out utility, just like we stated the previous rounds, bait out utility and then rotate out. Like, you have to play, and you have to play for map control, and that's what I'm not seeing so much for Sanrios.
Yeah, I do think a part of that was just trying to bait Tactical Throwers into rotating towards that B site, but because of the positioning there, it didn't have much of a chance of actually working. Anyways, now, speaking of positioning, Tactical Throwers is going to take a lot of space out of a main, and that's going to net them so much information. They do have a player to worry about here, but Kiss is just going to walk right into the barrel of Kaya. And even though Drop has now fallen, there's no room for Sanrios to work with in terms of the south side this time.
I mean, this is looking kind of viable here for Sanrios. They have the drop. There's no one actually onto the site. Yes, they have to worry about Juno Ford with that Rolling Thunder, which now that I see it, I'm terrified. I'm just as terrified. Yeah, you get onto the site, but you're going to be met with that Rolling Thunder. Luna Fox is just going to go all the way through. Sees one. I think catches a glimpse of the player onto sand. And it's going to be elimination, a double elimination there for Kaya. Sibui finally able to trade off their teammates. Now it is a 2v2 with that no command in the back pocket. But surprise, there is an orbital strike added to the mix. The bomb needs to get planted. There's 17 seconds on the board. Still enough if you can find yourself nice and safe in position to plant, which is going to be the case. Yas finds the head of Luna Fox. A flash comes through, but that slow orb is going to make it so hard for Sibui to go anywhere at this point. Another flash. I don't know if they have any information. They're close by, but the perfect crosshair placement once again for EOS. This is going to be the second clutch coming out for EOS onto this map.
Just really well played. The stall forcing Sanrios into a dangerous position, and then just EOS taking our breaths away yet again. Second clutch this map at least, and just a very strong player in her own right. Like, I know we talked so much about Satyr last map, but Eoz was doing a lot to help out as well. It didn't necessarily show up in terms of kills, but just in terms of assists, making space, being a safe pair of hands for the players to fall back on. Just that's something that cannot go undervalued, especially in a game like Valorant.
We talked about the Sage. It's nice to see how, like, not so desired team compositions do so well, right? Like, we talked, okay, Sage is a maybe. Sometimes it works in the right hands, and we're just seeing that a Sage in the hands of Tactical Thrower, it works out. They make it work somewhere or another. They are making it work for them and really pushing back any sort of aggression that Sanrios is trying. They just can't seem to find the puzzle of how to execute onto site. We've seen them plant, but even after their post plants, it goes array just like this. First two to go are going to be being held off by Oz and Brimstone. They were able to get into tower, and now we're talking. It's a 3-on-3, but we have to talk about the Breach being so low on health.
Yeah. Unfortunately for the Tactical Throwers, Kitty Cat is set up in a very good place for themselves right now. But even still, their help from above goes down in the end. Unifor trying to force a fight is going to get it, and even though the KO does end up getting res, Unifor has a lot of util to work with. Kaya in a very good situation for themselves, and they're going to get flashed, but it doesn't even matter. The Headhunter coming out in full force, and Sanrios loses yet another round.
That's definitely a feels bad. If you're Sanrios, you're just feeling a little bit deflated, right? You had the position, you had the bomb. All you had to do is play time. I feel maybe a little bit too much aggression being forth, shown there by Sibui and Kitty Cat. Of course, Kitty Cat was already low on health, right? But it's just perfect timing, if we may. And I mean, when your opponent is flash, you're like, we're okay, we got this. And then you have a chamber rushing you with a Headhunter.
Yeah. It might be just a little bit too strong.
Just
but either way, it is not the end of the world for Sanrios. They still have a lot of Valorant left to play, just like straight up. And even though they are down by quite a bit right now, there's still a lot of ways that they can work themselves back in. For instance, I'd like to see them try and take a little bit more space, especially if you do have agents like the Breach and the KO alive later into the round. You might consider getting aggressive, like perhaps push up into CT spawn a little bit towards A site, or try and take the rope up, or even just go for something like a reflank. Like, there are ways around what Tactical Throwers is doing right now. But Tactical Throwers are just doing such a good job of mixing up what exactly they're doing that they're not even giving Sanrios a way to adapt to it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the first initial question would pose, where is the biggest hole for you in Tactical Throwers gameplay right now?
I think the biggest thing is just that Tactical Throwers are constantly allowing Sanrios to get the spike down, which to me screams either play post plant from just offsite, maybe rely on Brimstone and Breach to just cause as much chaos as possible, or uh, take the fight to them a little bit more. If you're constantly able to get the spike down, I feel like it's a bit of a waste to just keep being given that and then just hold on site. There's got to be something more to it in order for you to actually play off of the advantages that your opponent is giving them.
Have you seen whether one site has worked better for Sanrios? Is it A? Is it B? Like, which one do you think they have more success rate at this point and should go with going forward?
I feel like they've had an easier time getting on to B, but I feel like they've been closer in terms of holding A for post plants. And I feel like if they can find a way to make those A hits work, then it's just that little bit easier to hold from post plants because you can plant it where you have a line of sight from halls. And especially since there are more options to hold it on site, I feel like that allows you to get a nice blend of how they've been playing and ways that they could adapt. I'm very interested to see how it is going to work as we hop back in, fading right back into view, despite there not being a fade on the map. Still set up in this 6-0 situation in favor of Tactical Throwers, with both ultimates that are extremely important being active on the side of Sanrios.
Oh, and we do have a little bit of a technical difficulty, which is why we reset it. But hopefully everything is back in its place here, as aggression is going to be the starting point for Sanrios. We saw that fault line come into contact with Satyr, who had to reposition off of that drop, which is a start on the right footing here for Sanrios to show that they are on their way to creating some space here. But as we can see, there is going to be a few weapon discrepancies. We see a couple stingers, a couple sheriffs.
Look at where the spike is.
Oh, they lost someone too.
Yeah, and it's one of their big ultimates down now. The Rolling Thunder no longer available. It looked like they might have been trying for a B fake into just a straight up A hit using the Rolling Thunder and Orbital Strike, but instead it's just going to wind up with two players walking into their demises. Fairy now has a Phantom that they can use. They can try and get this bomb down, and it looks like they will be relatively uncontested in doing so. Until Starry decides to just go over the top. The Sage Wall from behind the gen. I don't think I've seen something like that before.
I've seen it on TikTok. It's a TikTok walls.
Of course it is. Why would I doubt the incredible minds that live on TikTok?
Actually, talking about TikTok, by the way, we're going to take a really quick pause. We apologize. I know you guys are like, casters start game. Trust me, we don't have that power. If I had that much power, we would speed through everything and anything in the game. But
If we could start game, we would be players.
yeah, true. And you probably would not like to see my ranked games. Anyways, pray for my teammates when they have me on their team. And I wanted to talk about TikTok coaches. Have you heard about this?
I've heard of it. I have never bothered to seek it out myself because I don't do TikTok.
Oh,
I just it's just never been my thing. Like for me, it's like
Don't do
if
it.
I see a good TikTok, it's just like because it got reposted elsewhere.
Okay,
So
good.
it's like,
Don't get into it. It's a rabbit
yeah.
hole. It goes deep. You don't even. Anyways, let me just give you a gist of it. A gist of it is there's a bunch of people on TikTok that like think they're professional coaches, and they're giving some very interesting advice. So if you're into the TikTok world, go check that out. You'll get a laugh out of that. But heading back into the actual important stuff, which is Sanrios versus Tactical Throwers. Tactical Throwers have a map up. They've done phenomenal. What do you think are the key components to Tactical Throwers having this lead and looking like a very dominant team?
I brought it up during the last tech bonds that we had just a round ago. It feels like so long ago already, but I they're just playing so their discipline is just off the charts. I love the way that they're playing. I love that they're going for trades. I love that they're not putting themselves in any position where they have to win a 1v1 in order to win the round. There's always a second layer to it. There's always like a much grander scheme in terms of like all the pieces that they have in motion as opposed to just like, oh, we're going to lurk one player up to this position and hope that that nets us a couple kills. It's layers and layers of strategy behind it, and you can tell that Tactical Throwers has been around for a bit. Like they know what they're doing. It's a whole bunch of players that have seen what works, have seen what doesn't work, and have taken Simple's advice. They're not overpeaking. They're playing for trades, and ultimately, when they have an idea of how they want to play a map, they're not being forced onto someone else's tempo yet.
Yeah. I think we saw it perfectly from the start, right? Was it like when they were super aggressive onto a main and when they took a lot of control over onto drop and they continually did that until it no longer worked. And then when that didn't work, they went on and made sure that a main was or unapproachable using that sage wall and the raised body just there being there firing off. But do you think that it's a miss opportunity based on the or agent composition that we have here being brought forth by Sanrios?
I In terms of how Sanrios is playing it, I would like to see a little bit more aggression. And like I said, I would like to see a little bit more space being taken. You've got the KO, you've got the Raise, you've got the Breach. Those are all agents who can do a really good job at taking space and then holding it. Meanwhile, on the side of Tactical Throwers, sure, they have a Sage that can help cut off different lines of attack, and they have a Breach and Raise of their own. And actually, Sanrios doesn't have the Raise; they have the Neon, which is even
Mhm.
better at taking space. It's because you have the wall that can allow other teammates to get on site as well. But ultimately, there are ways that Sanrios could be looking into fighting forward a little bit more. And I would like to see that at some point when they are able to just get the spike down or get into a position where the spike can very safely be put down.
Well, are Sanrios going to find an answer as they face themselves with their 7 point deficit against Tactical Throwers, this being the second map? If Tactical Throwers do get this dub, they will be going into playoffs for tomorrow. But the real question is, how will Sanrios really figure this out? They have a full buy and they have a couple ultimates underneath their belts. What can they do with these ultimates, Elias?
Well, you can go for a quick take with them. You obviously, in terms of just having the breach ult, that's a very strong ultimate in and of itself. But paired with the brimstone ult, if you want to pinch somewhere like tower or like top site a main, then that's incredibly strong. And there's not really a good way for a team to fight out of it if something like that happens. But on the other hand, Junifor's 2 off of her ultimate, Starry's 1 off of hers. If
Oh,
you don't
man.
get those ults out soon, you're going to be extremely far behind in terms of that ult cycle. And realistically, when you're down 7-0 on a map like this, you need to be looking for any sort of foothold you can. These ultimates essentially need to be invested into this round. Otherwise, you're essentially just letting the opposing team get their ults online a little bit quicker, you'll have to take an eco after this round, which hurts even more because Kiss doesn't have her ultimate online, and the Luna Fox isn't especially close to hers either. So that's just a weaker eco that would be forced to happen. And after that, your opponents are guaranteed to have both of their big ults up as well. So once that happens, you're losing opportunities if you can't figure out a way to get these ults invested sometime soon. And I feel like that the way that Sanrios should approach this round is just look to take the site as quickly as possible.
Yeah, simpler said than done, right? Especially when you have tactical throwers who are just looking nice and fierce on any site that you hit. But we are kind of waiting for one player, folks. I know you're like, wait, you said we were going back to game. One of the players.
Do you not see the game right here?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess so. But like, I mean, like actually play the game. I guess they wanted to start.
You play like tic-tac-toe or something.
We are getting a couple of drawfuls here from the side of Sanrios. They're drawing a couple things for us. Let's try to guess what they're drawing.
I mean, we had some nice hearts earlier.
Hearts are nice. I appreciate hearts. Lots of love. But I did see a couple comments in the chat asking, what am I? I am a hot Cheeto, guys. So that's why we're bringing you spicy Valorant gameplay. Apparently not. People thought I was a hot dog. Huh. Which, I mean, I could be, I guess.
Well, you know what is extremely obvious? The round's about to start.
I'm out of here. Let's go.
Are you sure you're watching Valorant correctly? Either way, we are going to be seeing that quicker take that I was hoping for. Breach ult going to be invested. Brimstone ult likely going to be played for post-plant. And just like that, the site should be theirs.
Yeah. Once again, I mean, I feel like it's so easy. Tactical throwers are just like, all right, here's the site. What are you going to do with it? And with that, this Sabui getting a first blood. Make that second here as Kitty Cat also adds on to the mix. And finally, it's looking like a possible hold. As they both swing, Eos able to collect one, looking for the second. There was that resurrection in the back pocket, now no longer. Kea now is left to their lonesome self, trying to find the 1v1. Sees Sabui, swings a little bit too late, and just like that, Sanrios, after that break, find their first point. A so needed point, right, Alias?
Yeah, especially when you look at that ultimate lineup for tactical throwers. Ready, and 6 out of 8.
Oh, that's scary.
That's not something that you want to go into this next round with. Fairy does still have her ultimate, which, honestly, like, good on them for having it that late in the round to secure the round if necessary. But this is still not exactly the position that you want to be in. She's not going to be baited out from Kaya, but she's not actually stunned. So if she decides to walk ahead of the smoke, she's got just a free shot waiting for her. And as it stands right now, B main is still very much locked down. And I think they might be able to hear at least a couple of these players rotating in. So Sager's just... That's a huge slow warp.
Yeah, and the satchel too, just to cause them to pause for a second. Fast lane invested. They were hoping that they were hoping for the bait out. Instead, the rotation coming in through. There was one of the members of Tactical Throwers in the rotation, specifically the Breach, has left the site, but they still have to worry about Starry and Kea onto the site. Tripwire is still in action here, which I believe is going to cut out the... Okay, no, actually, it is not. With that null command, or a flashpoint coming in, gets nullified. But... the nullification comes down through. The bomb has been planted. Satyr already really deep into the flank. Gets shut down by Luna Fox. Although there is a resurrection in the back pocket of Oz here. When to use it is the question here. As finds one, gets eliminated. Rolling Thunder as well invested over. And Juno Ford continues their mayhem over onto tower. But There's 2 there, now left, down to Kea. Orbital Strike coming down, just like you stated, to clutch out this round. There is still enough time. Actually, no, not when Fairy finds the elimination.
Yeah. That is a lot of the ultimates being invested for them. Kitty Cat working up towards their second Rolling Thunder. I don't know if they'll be able to get another one by the time the half goes up. If they're able to get a bomb plant or an orb and die, then they should be fine. But either way, it's a scary situation that's more or less dodged by Sanrios. But they still have the Orbital Strike to worry about on the other end. The Showstopper and the not the Rolling Thunder, the Resurrection. Both available for them to use. And Eoz is gone and helped pinch Sabui. And now Kiss also having to deal with it. Resurrection could easily be invested here. As the Orbital Strike not quite in range. Instead, it's going to be a coordinated retake with it, knowing that all of that bottom site of A is completely clear due to the Orbital Strike, but they haven't acted on it quickly enough.
Okay, Showstopper also invested, coming down, doesn't see anyone. There is one Hell, and Lunafox gets away with their life. The switch up, though, from Junoforth. The wall cuts out the A main push, but it's still Kitty Cat who's near around sight on the machine. Once that wall gets broken, and the bomb is planted specifically for main. Kitty Cat able to get the diffuser. The bomb is ticking. It is halfway. The stick is gonna come through, but Kitty Cat swings, and just like that, we're 4 points away. Oh no! How low is their economy? Okay, they're still able to buy.
And that's all the ultimates gone. Sanrios have, after that little bit of an extended pause, come out swinging. Done incredibly well for themselves. They've been playing this aggressively, but more importantly, they've stopped playing everyone on site for post plant. I think that that's definitely helped them in the long run. It scared me for a sec. I saw Lunafox. I just look at where she's been paused at.
Oh. You're like, you know, I'm low-key hoping for a 5-woman rope fight. Do you think they'll give me that?
Oh god, don't give us another Crashy situation.
I really want.
They added a
just
reminder
for the sake of
specifically
it.
just to avoid it.
Oh.
Although I do love fracture jousting. Just just send people down on opposite sides, just shoot at them.
Yeah. I just want to see it for fun, you know?
Yeah.
This is why we're here. Fun.
I mean, just dueling ops. Just dueling ops down the ropes, you know?
No, classics. Classics only.
Ops are funny, though.
That's true, yeah. Ops are hard. Anyways.
Exactly.
Flashpoint, smoke, and a really quick zoomy into this A main is going to go forth for Luna Fox, who also expends a stun over onto this A main. There is 3 people over onto this A site, so this A main push might become a little bit difficult for Sanrios as we try to get at least a little bit more information. And it's smelling like a bait. You smell that?
I'm trying not to sneeze right now, so not especially, but yeah, I definitely see where you're coming from. It sounds like Sanrios was trying to get tactical throwers to rotate on over, just taking advantage of the fact that it's likely that tactical throwers is going to try and gamble stack a site, and especially as that Sage Wall breaks, Sanrios looks like they might be deciding to try and go back a little bit. Lots of audio being thrown up. But look who's still on that A site.
30 seconds left.
Oh. Utility, still in the back pocket. Cheeky corner. Surprise! It's Satyr with a lot of weapon and ammo in their Stinger. Stinger in the right hands is so crazy and still continue to do so much damage. A satchel to try to stay alive for as long as possible. Only 10 seconds on the board. Someone's got to plant the bomb. It's going to be Sabui 2v2. No utility in the hands, but I guess you don't need utility when you've got the perfect aim.
A thrifty round going to be converted at the worst possible time for Sanrios. Tactical throwers now go up 8-3. Not quite a thrifty. There must have just been enough investment to offset that. But either way, Sanrios now on a little bit of a back foot. Lunafox will still be able to force up something alongside her ult. And Sabui does have the null command to help take the site. But on the other side, Junifor has the Rolling Thunder. And that could be a very important tool in trying to dictate how this round's played. Tactical throwers now just have the ability to play super far back. And it looks like they're instead just going to opt to use it, but it doesn't hit anybody. The south side pinch results in nothing. And initially, the start of the push looked like it would have gone quickly towards that B site, or not quickly towards that B site, split between that A site and that B site. But now the null command comes in, and the B site has very quickly fallen.
Oh, so many ultimates, overdrive.
They're finally taking space.
They are indeed. Sabui able to take out Satyr. The rest of the squad of tactical throwers are going to make their entrance through Arcade. Breach being the only one A main. Just like that, Rolling Thunder also gets input into the site, giving away the position of Sabui. So here's a wall. Stay there. Stay behind the wall. You shall not pass here as Kiss remains on the site with an operator in hand. Junifor able to get the trade-off, and Sabui is cut off from any angle of being able to obtain a lineup to get them off of the spike. Doesn't actually land, and they are sticking the defusal.
And the half ends 9-3. Tactical throwers going up yet again on their opponent's map pick.
I mean, I have to say, at least Sanrios got a couple rounds, and the rounds that they did get, they were very dominant, and not only that, but they knew exactly what to do. Unfortunately, Tactical Throwers, a team that's really quick to adapt to whatever their opponents bring out. Do you think that the team composition going over for Sanrios is going to be more beneficial on this defensive-sided half?
Yeah, in terms of the Sanrios composition, a lot of how this one wants to work is just by taking at least some sort of aggression. And right off the bat, we're going to be seeing that with this north side pinch coming out. We do have the Chamber 4B main, but unfortunately that leaves A main as the one spot that is completely unobstructed. And that's where Tactical Throwers have decided to go. So the spike will be planted no problem. Fury dropped all the way down to 11 HP because of the nade coming out from Satyr. And so now, Tactical Throwers set up in a very, very dominant post plant.
3 main, holding off the rotation, holding off the plant as well. Satyr being the first connecting point. Thankfully, you have teammates who can back you up just as quickly. Junifor, was that a right click? That ain't right. The fact that a right click does so much damage from that far. Oh,
I don't think it was a right click. I think that was just a very odd time to left click. Okay. But either way, still very well played. And Yaz and K are going to find the last two. That open plant very much benefiting Tactical Throwers. And Sanrios down 10-3. Losing the second half pistol and essentially being forced to force up.
That rhymes. Forced to force up? Hey.
I mean, it's the same word. I would hope it rhymes.
Oh, I thought you said to force up.
Oh.
My brain. Anyways, lots of Valorant, not enough coffee / caffeine. Don't worry, folks. Double digits here coming over for Tactical Throwers as well as the weapon advantage. Sanrios looking to fix up their last mistake. They're gonna, instead of pushing out, hold sight and hold the entry angles. But no, that is not exactly where tactical throwers are gonna go. They're gonna mix things up.
Yeah. Hit coming in on this B site very quickly. Flash out for Sabui, looking to take at least a little bit of advantage of the Stinger that was forced out. But ultimately, not a lot of damage being dealt, and what damage was dealt was going to be healed back up, but you cannot heal a dead player on 4 ultimate charges. So Satyr going to stay down. Fairy also trying to find Starry, but that doesn't quite go the way that either of them wanted. It's now Lunafox trying to deal with Eos on site. As this has turned it into a very big scramble situation. Kiss finding Starry, Gaia finding Lunafox, and the open plant should be what secures tactical throwers the round. Kitty Cat gets it down to a 1v1, but with them on such low HP, Junifor just needs 1 bullet to take it, and 1 bullet will find its way into Kitty Cat. The Breach not quite able to take on their counterpart, and tactical throwers have an easy path to 12, assuming that this round can be won very convincingly.
I feel like the lack of sentinels on the side of Sanrio is definitely showing the fact that they were able to so easily move onto the site. Yes, they had the chamber, but I can't really recall where that trademark was placed. I don't know if it was entry. Regardless, tactical throwers just walked onto the site and were able to remain after that post plant, having the weapon advantage. Now finding themselves in a separate situation. I believe this is supposed to be the round, the buy-up round for Sanrios, yes?
They forced up last round. They don't have the economy to buy up.
Oh, this is going to spell trouble here as Satyr finds the first. Satchel's on to a higher ground. Elevation to try to see where everybody else is. Finds Kitty Cat and continues to hold on to the site as a bomb gets planted. Lunafox only a sheriff in hand. A pretty one at that. I love those colors.
Yeah.
So nice. But
Wall
unfortunately,
barely not deep enough to prohibit Fairy from peeking out. So instead, Fairy will take a couple of peeks, but ultimately not going to be much use outside of just support. Does land a nice couple of shots onto Eos, but that'll be it. And that's one aspect that I didn't realize that Sage would be a more popular pick for now. Being able to just wall off the rope as opposed to needing to just smoke and hold it. You can just wall it off now. Something that I like. It seems obvious in retrospect, but just never really thought about.
yeah, she's so great to also like wall off. I've seen so many times where people post or plant for a main and then wall off that initial entrance from CT, and then they're forced to not only break that but focus on the wall as opposed to the actual players. But it's gonna be match point here. Tactical throwers looking to make this a nice and early evening for them to go and enjoy some ramen, which is exactly what I'm going to be doing after this. So yay to that. Satyr's also adding a yay to that. Taking out Subui, who's holding on to the tower control. Sage is going to be slowing down any initial flanks that may be coming from the way of A main. And now they have a perfect post-plant Lunafox on the long flank. Finally able to get rid of that Sage wall and get away from that trademark. So I don't know if they actually know that Lunafox is over onto this A main.
This is getting dicey.
Satyr.
They have spotted Lunafox now, though.
Oh, they have indeed. The showstopper being brought out at the wrong time. Starry has a lot to prove here, especially being the last standing, looking for the last point. Not going to have too much success on that. Sanrios not looking to give up just quite yet.
At 12-3, going to turn into 12-4 instead of 13-3. Sanrios stays in the game. They have a lot of ultimates to work with. Kiss having her ultimate makes the economic impact just that much more bearable. As a rifle can actually get forced up for Fairy. Lunafox has her overdrive that can be activated whenever as well. So this buy actually not nearly as bad as it looks on paper for Sanrios. Meanwhile, on the other side, that Stinger is just about as pitiful as it looks, which is surprisingly not pitiful at this point. But either way, it's not a rifle.
I think a lot of people will dare to argue with that. In the right hands, man, does it look deadly. Sibui getting caught out by that boom butt. No hiding here, folks. Gonna have to go back to the site.
Satyr got hit in the leg. Or actually, maybe just wallbang. But either
Yeah,
way.
wallbang for sure. A little bit change of pace here coming out for tactical throwers. They bought out at least a little bit of utility. Kea hasn't bought too much space over onto that B since that smoke came out. At least it lets them know that Brimstone is somewhere around the vicinity. Another one to hold them off just a little bit longer, but that does not stop Satyr. Satyr might be hurt, but still looking to take a challenge. Fairy holds on to the tower control. Tactical throwers looking for a new route to hit the site.
30 seconds left.
Cut noise a bit. And Fox going to be able to retrieve the weapon dropped by Satyr right there. June 4, unfortunately, no such luck. But it looks like they're going to look for a re-hit. The only problem is Kiss is still watching that angle.
Oh!
But unfortunately doesn't quite hit it. Misses 3 times. And now running out of bullets. Luckily for her, Fairy is going to be able to take down the Spike Carrier. And it's planted too far out in the open. They're going to have to go for duels. And oh god, it gets very close. Kitty Cat ultimately manages to stay alive long enough to win their team the round. Sanrios advanced to 5 on a little bit of a scare, but that's so much damage being done.
They had no business winning that. I feel like that. I mean, actually, now that I think about it, it was kind of like
They
a
had
interesting
just
buy.
enough business.
Yeah, had a really interesting buy coming out from Tacticals. Now, only a Stinger, but I say only a Stinger. Again, in the right hands. Could be deadly. We've seen Satyr do incredible things with just a Sheriff. Now a Stinger in the hand.
Yeah. Satyr trying to look for something down A main. Meanwhile, Kiss going to get a stun from her teammate to try and set her back up on the single. But there's still just so much respect being shown to tactical throwers as they're postured outside this as they're postured outside A main.
No one. Right. This is a very aggressive position by Kiss.
Down A.
Does it get punished? Eventually gets traded out though. As teleports back onto the site. 1 for 1.
Yeah.
And a full site control here coming out for tactical throwers, and Luna Fox just eliminates 2.
Uh-oh.
Kaya has the answer, making now a 2v2. We're down.
Where's this
Match
Rolling Thunder
point.
gonna get invested? Satyr's not hit by it.
Oh, still onto the site, but this Aftershock, that's gonna be trouble along paired with the nade. It's down to Kaya and the Tour de Force, and it cannot be done.
Yeah, just very scary situation after very scary situation, continuing to be dodged by Sanrios, clawing their way back ever so, not even gracefully, ever so precariously into this map, as every single round that they've managed to take since going onto match point, or since Tactical Throwers went onto match point, it's always been just by the skin of the teeth.
Yeah, that economy. I mean, they're living moment by moment, and I mean, we always say like live by the moment, enjoy every little moment, and that is exactly what Sanrios is showing this round, being it. There's still so many rounds for tactical throwers, but they seem to be having that difficulty going through that initial barrier. Of course, it's the barrier that Sanrios is imposing on them, and this one being Luna Fox just saying, okay, I'm gonna get aggressive here and get that initial pick, but 1 for 1 is what it's worth. The resurrection coming through from EOS allows for there still to be 5 remaining in this. This is looking like a wrap here, potentially. Don't
No,
want to
don't
jinx
say
it,
that.
folks.
Last player.
How do they
But-
lose it now?
Spike planted.
There is a hope. There is a
Alright.
dream. That
Okay,
dream.
hypothetically, there should be no way that Sabui wins this.
I
They're walled
mean,
off. They have the Breach and the Brimstone ultimate to work with. It's planted in a spot that can be aftershocked from multiple different angles. They're getting slowed. The null command is going to reveal where their position is. And they're running out of time. They find the first kill. Flash
through.
and
Oh.
Satyr.
Attackers win.
Alrighty. It took us a while, but we are finally finished with Fracture. 13-6 going in favor of Tactical Throwers. They advance. Play tomorrow.
That's correct. They move on in the bracket. Sanrios will have to try again at another Game Changers Academy. 13-6. Still overall a pretty dominating performance, even though we had that maybe comeback. But there was no tactical throw today. Tactical throwers. Clean up with a 2-0. Alias, can you tell me why that actually turned out to be even more dominant? Again, take away a little bit of momentum at the end, and it would have been really dominant. So was that just tactical throwers getting in the groove against Sanrios, or do you think Fracture's a really good map for them?
I think it's just their play style. Like, this style of play is one that I go into every Valorant tournament wanting to see and always being more or less disappointed. But I love this, like, disciplined play style where there's not necessarily, like, one big star. Like, inevitably, somebody has to, like, take match MVP. And in this case, normally it ended up being Satyr. But, like, if you had to guess who had the most kills that map, who would you say it was?
Oh, I guess I would have just been assuming it was Satyr.
It was Juno.
Yeah.
Satyr
Yeah.
actually,
Yeah.
in terms of KD, landed 4th on her team. Everyone was playing extremely well. And I think that's a huge part of why Tactical Throwers is able to get this momentum. Even Starry, who only had 11 kills, only died 13 times, which is a very, like, solid stat line for a controller, and was able to get 10 assists in the process. There's a lot of high-impact plays being made by these players, even if they don't always result in direct kills. And more importantly, they're not just randomly throwing their lives away. They're taking fights that they know they can win, and every single fight that they've been taking has worked out at least somewhat in terms of just guaranteeing them better positioning, better utility usage, or just some other facet of control.
Definitely, again, kudos to the entire team really working together to bring that 2-0 to fruition. We do have the bracket ready to check out, as well as maybe who they're facing. I'm actually not sure if that's complete yet. Oh, it is completed. It's fully complete, guys. We know our matchups. Excellent. So, Cute Noob, I can now definitely ask you, what do you think about Tactical Throwers versus Ariana Grande Perfume?
Oh, man. Yikes. I don't know. I'm gonna be real. I don't know. Tactical Throwers just looking so phenomenal, so on point, just like Elia said, using every little piece of utility to the T and being able to trade off each other consistently. If they are able to bring that out tomorrow, it's going to be very hard for Ariana Grande Perfume to perform. Although, if I'm being honest, I don't know exactly how this new team of Ariana Grande is doing. I haven't had the pleasure of casting them, but just based simply on the stats, being able to 2-0 Revival, who's a team that we know has so much fire, so much hunger to be the best, and they 2-0'd them, okay, that makes me think like they are set on success. So I don't know. It could be anyone's game. Sorry, if I'm being honest. But Tactical Throwers definitely looking like they're gonna give a run for their money to Ariana Grande Perfume.
That's what we're hoping, anyways. But as you pointed out, knocking down Revival 2-0 after Revival looked just so strong. I believe when we broadcast them yesterday, is really a testament to how well Ariana Grande Perfume does. They might have skipped a month, but we are once again looking at them as perhaps the favorites going to the finals, perhaps winning it. If it wasn't for someone on the other side of the bracket, alias the other match being Version X versus Team Mystic Venus. What are you thinking about that one?
I am extremely excited to see this. Any of these combinations of the like potential grand finals are going to be fantastic to watch, but there is a very good reason that a lot of us are thinking that VX is going to be involved in that. They've played well, they've looked incredibly strong, and they have a history of success behind them. And even when you're playing hot, there is something just somewhat devastating about going into a map knowing that you are not the favorite to win. And against any team that, for any team that Virgin X is playing against, there is going to be that element of fear. So if I'm TMV, I'm looking to just go in to tomorrow's match and just saying, look, we're in the same spot that they are. It's anybody's game. We can still take this. We've been playing exceptionally well too. We've gotten some good wins under our belt. Let's go ahead and just go out there, give it our all. Whatever happens, happens.
Mm-hmm.
Because
go ahead. Sorry.
At the end of the day, there's something devastating about saying that we're not supposed to win this map. But at the same time, there's also something freeing about saying we're not supposed to be here. And if TMV can lean more into that aspect of it, I think that the match is a little bit closer than we're going to give it credit for.
Mm-hmm. That's what I was going to bring up as well. It kind of depends on like a coach or an in-game leader, whoever is the maybe the morale of the team, right? Because sometimes it's not those two positions, but just the person who's really excitable, the person who cheers everyone on. If they can approach it with more of a good optimistic outtake, either, hey, we don't have any pressure, let's just play our best, or they go with the epic speech, right before the epic moment of the movie where they're like, we can definitely do this, guys. That can change things. Not to mention that Version X might be a little overconfident coming into this tournament. They might get a little slapped first before they're like, oh yeah, okay, hold on. Let's redo this. But this is all the stuff we're going to be talking about tomorrow, guys, more specifically, because those matches will all be played tomorrow, of course, culminating in the finals, which we get to determine who is the victor of October for Game Changers Academy. Cute Noob, I just wanted to get one little soundbite from you. Team Mystic Venus, 2-0 Version X?
Absolutely.
There you
Easy
go.
peasy. I feel like I'm being set up to, I swear, yesterday they put a clip out of me and I was like, damn, everyone thinks I'm over here being biased. All right, I love you guys all. You guys are all great. Everyone's baiting me. I'm out.
Yeah,
I'm like,
I am. 100%. Gotta go with the flaming Cheeto bait. Has to be done. So that is it for us, guys. That is it for today. Tomorrow is going to be same time, same place as today. So noon Pacific, as well as 3 p.m. Eastern. So make sure to get your clock sets and your alarms ready to go for what is going to be hopefully some very epic best of threes to finish everything out. This is once again been Game Changers Academy October, presented by Verizon and AIM Labs. Thank you so much to everyone watching, to all the production, and to my commentators for the evening, Cute Noob and Alias. Job well done. We hope to see you guys back here for the semifinals and finals tomorrow. See you there.